I was not athletic. The soccer team just needed players, so I signed up, okay? I was also editor of the school newspaper. Okay? And I was captain of a quiz team called Reach for the Top. Okay? So that's a Canadian thing. But I was captain of it, I organized it, okay? So these 3 activities, they're fine, but it doesn't really demonstrate leadership potential, right? You're not like head of student government, or you're not head of Model United Nations, all right? On my essay, I wrote about Richard Feynman, who is a physicist. It was a really boring essay. It was, I mean, like anyone could have written it. I mean, like ChatGPT could have written it, okay? It was just a bad essay. My teachers, I mean, they liked me, but they really didn't like me because I seemed aggressive to them. You know, I wanted grades too much. So the word they use is ambitious. They thought I was ambitious. Ambitious is a dirty word in Canada. It means you don't play by the rules. It means you're too aggressive. It means you're too pushy, okay? All right, so this is my application to Yale. As you can see, it is a decent, but not a stellar application. So how did I get in? Well, because there was some information that they could also derive from application that made them interested in me, okay? The first is that I was poor. So I couldn't even afford the application fee. I had to apply for a waiver for my application, for my application, okay? So I was poor because I was an immigrant. So I was born in China in 1976, and my family went over when I was in 1983 when I was like 6, okay? So I was a poor immigrant in Canada. I transferred high school. So I was in a poor high school, then I went to a rich high school, okay? So basically I switched neighborhoods. My family lived in a poor neighborhood, and then I applied to go to a rich high school in a different neighborhood. So I had to take the subway there every day, and I spent like half an hour on the subway. And guess what, guys? Canadians don't like that, okay? Canadians want you to stay where you are, and that's it. So when I told my high school principal that I was going to transfer high schools, he got very upset. And he said that I'm going to write a discipline letter, okay? A discipline letter, and it's a very serious thing. And I'm going to put it in your folder so that when you apply to university, they will know that you were suspended from the school. And like that's basically like a really bad thing, okay? I got this discipline letter, and when I went to the rich high school, I had no friends. Why? Because they didn't like me. Because they don't like it when someone new comes in. Okay, I didn't know their culture. I'm sort of like ambitious, and I was grade grubbing. But the thing is, I was desperate because my family was very poor, and I wanted a better life, okay? Okay? So, again, they know all this, okay? They know I'm an average student, and they know that I'm pushy and ambitious. And that's why Yale let me in. Because it's clear from this information that I had dissociative personality disorder. Okay? What does that mean? It means, first of all, I'm desperate. Okay? Desperate means like, if I don't get into Yale, I'll probably kill myself. I mean, if I didn't get into Yale, I would drown. I couldn't breathe. It was a life or death issue for me. They can see the desperation. They want that, okay? Second thing is, I was insecure, okay? If you're an insecure person, it means you're not happy with who you are. It means there's a void in your heart. And therefore, the way to fill the insecurity is through achievement, okay? So, if I made $1 million, I wouldn't be happy. I would need to go make $2 million. If I made $10 million, I would see people around me who had $100 million, and I would be like, I need to go make $1 billion, okay? So an insecure person sees the world as a competition. And you're always achieving. okay? And that's how you succeed, okay? And the third thing is I was not a moral person, okay? I was ready to break the rules in order to succeed, transgressive, okay? So I was not supposed to leave my poor high school and go to a rich high school. That's breaking the rules in Canada. It's not illegal, but you're supposed to do that. And I didn't care. The principal said I couldn't do that. I said to him, screw off. I'm still going to do it. I went to the rich high school. Everyone said to me, you're not welcome. I said, I don't care. I'm going to get my good grades, and I'm going to get into the Ivy League. I don't need you guys, okay? So they saw the desperation. They saw the insecurity. They saw the hunger and the immorality. And this is all part of dissociative personality disorder. And that's why they let me in. Because it's possible I go crazy, okay? It's possible I become depressed, but it's also possible I change the world. Okay? Does that make sense? That's how they think. Because they're a venture capital firm. They're looking for the riskiest investment with the best possible return. They're looking for people who can become president of the United States, who can change the world, who can make a name for themselves. Because if they do that, that makes Yale look good. So you remember the name, okay? It's all about brand name recognition. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Okay. So you're like, okay, well, this is fine, and what's wrong with the system, okay? Why would this be a bad thing? It works. Why would this be a bad thing? Well, the problem with this is because Yale, Harvard, and Princeton is so powerful, not only are they looking for people with trauma, okay? I was traumatized as a child, but they're also traumatizing the world, okay? If that makes sense. All right? So the meritocracy exists to find people with trauma, and because it exists, it's traumatizing the world. Okay, so let me explain how and why. Any questions so far? Is this all clear? Yeah?
So let's say if like the Harvard and Princeton, these college students, then why they're still like so famous? Because the system is just unreasonable for and unequal for the students who have who have good grades.
Okay. All right. That's a really good question. Okay. So why are Harvard students, Yale students, Princeton students so famous? Okay. The reason why is when you do investment, you don't do all risky investments. Okay. You always have diversity in your portfolio. So the majority of students are still students who will be successful no matter what. Why? Because their families are rich. Okay. So if you go back to the example, right? Those four, you let in the child who comes from 3 generations of Harvard graduates. Okay, and that's the majority of people who get into Harvard. And then you let in the athlete. Okay, so the athlete, the legacy, these are the people who are the majority. Those are the safe investments. And then you have like 1% of positions for people like me, who like you don't really know, but there's potential there. So let's take a risk. Okay, and quite honestly, it's a crapshoot because it's all very discretionary. So it's all intuition, okay? They don't have a formula for this. They just think, this guy is interesting, let's just let him in, okay? And it's possible, on an essay, you just wrote something really interesting, and they laugh. And it's like, okay, let's take a chance on this guy. They have that 1% of positions available for risk, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm not the average Yale student. I'm a marginalized Yale student, okay? So, this system, the meritocracy, the way it's set up, it creates trauma. Okay, so let me explain why. So let's look at university, Yale. Then we'll look at high school. Okay, then we'll look at parenting. Okay, so you think, oh, you get into Yale, you can just coast, you're happy, life is simple. Okay, the fact of the matter is that when you get into Yale, Yale is actually the Hunger Games. Have you read the book, The Hunger Games? It is a relentless competition. Because once you're in Yale, you're still competing. But now you're competing against the most competitive people in the world, okay? So maybe at this school, you can be the best student. Your parents love you. you have lots of good friends, you're head of student government, you feel really good about yourself. You go to Yale, and then you recognize that you're a nobody. Your parents are far away. And you're now in competition with the best students from all around the world who all want to kill you because it's a zero-sum game, okay? Only the strongest survive. And so everywhere you go, it's a competition. In the classroom, it's a seminar style, so you're with 20 other students, and the professor's asking you questions, and you're all competing to impress the professor, okay? Outside the classroom, you're competing to get into clubs and something called secret societies, okay? But you're also competing for graduate school, for law school, for medical school, for scholarships like the Rhodes Scholarship, okay? So Yale, it sounds nice, but once you get in there, from the first day, it's an endless pursuit of achievement. It's just competition after competition after competition. Wherever you go, you're being judged by someone, okay? You're being judged by the professor or your classmates, and everyone's looking to like basically kill each other because it's a winner-take-all system, okay? So this is very traumatic, and it makes you so insecure that you go through life thinking like life is just like that. Everyone's an enemy. I have to achieve and achieve in order to feel good about myself. I cannot stop working hard, otherwise I will be killed by other people, okay? So people who graduate from Yale have a deep sense of insecurity, even those who come from the wealthiest families, okay? They're always looking to achieve, and that's what Yale wants, that's what Harvard wants, because these are the people who will be most successful in life, okay? They're not happy with $1 million, they want $1 billion. Once they have the $1 billion, they want $10 billion, okay? It never stops, okay? So to get into Yale, you have to go through high school. And high school has to train you for Yale. So it's also a competition, also a Hunger Games. Okay? And to train you for high school, your parents have to have a different parenting system, okay? So I'll give you two examples of parenting, okay? In the first system, which is the healthy system, you say to your child, I love you unconditionally. No matter what you do, I will support you. I will always be here for you. And if you say that to your child every day, your child will be happy, fulfilled, and secure in life. But the person will probably end up as a teacher, okay? Now, you can also say to your child, I don't have time for you, but if you win the swimming competition, or you place first on your math test, or if the teacher say really nice things about you, then I'll take you for ice cream. Okay? And so it's a system that neglects the child while at the same time demands the child, okay? And this is trauma. And again, most kids will be traumatized by the system. But there are some kids who will thrive in the system, and the trauma will encourage them or drive them to achieve and achieve and achieve so that they get into Yale, so they can compete in the Hunger Games, so they can go on in life and compete some more, okay? And that's how the system is set up. And this is what we call the meritocracy. And as I'll explain to you later on, it is destroying America and the world, all right? So that's how the system is set up. And guess what, guys? Is it different in China? Not really, okay? All right? So the concept of the meritocracy has conquered the world. It started in America. It actually started at Harvard, but now it's conquered the entire world, and that's why the world is so messed up.
So as you say, the Yale gives you so many negative emotions, so will you still go to there if you got a second chance?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Would I go there if I had a second chance? And the answer is probably, okay? And the reason why is the system is set up that you don't really have a choice, right? If you want to move ahead in the world and you're poor, what are your options, right? So before in America, there are opportunities for poor people to succeed. So for example, George Washington, the first president of the United States, he never went to college. Abraham Lincoln didn't go to the Ivy League. And these are considered the two greatest presidents in American history. Unfortunately, today, if you look at the presidents, if you look at the top people, they all went to the elite schools. Okay, so the system is set up so that if you want to succeed, you have to go through the Ivy League. But I do not plan to send my kids to the Ivy League. Okay, the last thing I would do is have them in such a competitive, traumatic environment as the Ivy League. Okay, does that make sense? All right. All right. Any more questions? So thank you for your question. Any more questions before I move on? Okay. So let's do a PPT, and I'll explain to you how America is destroying the world. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay. So I actually need to go back to the beginning. Okay. Death by meritocracy. All right. So let's go. Okay. So if you from this graph, what you can see is this. In the year 1875, the best universities in the world were actually not in America. They were in Germany. Germany was producing the most Nobel Prize winners. Second was France, followed by the UK, okay? And America was non-existent. But because of its investments in research universities, it started to move up, and then it won World War II.